I went to Hulk Hogan's funeral. Yeah, my tour manager and I went down, and it was, you get down there and it's beautiful. It was down in Largo, Florida, and we ended up meeting up with Kid Rock. I was having dinner with him a couple nights before, and he's like, "Do you want to go to?" He mentioned he was going down, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go to the funeral." And then he's like, "Well, let's go." So we went, and so that was the crew. We get down there, and we got to. I mean, it's in a beautiful church down there. Where was that church, Zach? If you can look that up for me really fast. Where was that church down there? Indian River, Indian. Oh, that's a damn casino, actually.
Indian Rocks Baptist Church in Largo, Florida.
Okay, Indian Rocks Baptist, almost. I'm just saying that thing's a couple slow weekends away from getting overtaken by a casino, bro. It sounds like. But anyway, beautiful place, Indian Rocks Baptist Church. And they have like a baptism. It's actually where Hulk Hogan got baptized not too long ago. They played that during the memorial service, and it was nice, beautiful place there. A lot of people sitting in there, and you walk in, and there's a lot of people in there. Hacksaw was in there. Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart was in there. Ric Flair was in there. Dennis Rodman was in there, and he kind of. I think as they were pushing the casket out, it kind of shook, like wobbled a little bit, and Rodman kind of stopped it, which was kind of crazy. He was like, it was like one last rebound, kind of just, he kind of just helped toe the line there and just kind of keep the Hulk headed to heaven, I guess, straight away. And, but yeah, it was just, it was kind of crazy because you're walking, for me, I was walking through a lot of my childhood, just the moments of all these wrestlers. And some of them's in wheelchairs, and some of them's in, some of them got on chainmail and shit, or fake spines, all kind of they got everybody's in there. Fake arm, fake neck. You got, people in there with so many missing parts. It's just a damn Jim McMahon Build-A-Bear over there at that Hulk Hogan funeral over there. But yeah, so it was kind of wild just to see like all like the, parts of my heroes and stuff like that, and see heroes from when I was a child, because there was nobody bigger to us, than professional wrestlers. I'm going to say that right out loud. And I'm going to say that our love for professional wrestlers was bottomless, bro. Point blank, homie. We just loved them, dude. I mean, like me and my buddy William would stay up at night and try to watch Saturday Night Main Event when Hulkamania would show up on there, and the Big Boss Man and Bam Bam Bigelow. Me and my buddy William, both of us were falling asleep. We would hold each other's eyes open. I would hold his open, and he would hold mine open, and we would just hold each other's eyes open, boy. Yeah. And we would eat as many of those red hot fireballs as we could, so our mouths would be like they were dripping blood. And we would spray WD-40 on our arms and on each other's backs. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Get it on my back, Whitey. And we would do that shit, boy. And we would just wait there until they came on the screen, the wrestlers. Ultimate Warrior. Rudy the ravishing, not rapist or whatever. I don't know who that guy was. Oh yeah, with the hair cutters. The gardener, this like fucking gardener. He had like gardener shears, and he would fucking cut your mom's hair or something, and then she would be pregnant, So anyway, yeah. But the wrestling, it was like we looked up to those guys, Like on our street, a lot of the kids, there wasn't a lot to look up to. There wasn't a lot to look up to. So, those wrestlers, when they, it was like, I don't know, wrestling to me, it felt like it was for poor people, bro. I'm going to say that out loud. It just all the character, I don't know. I think there was no barrier to entry for wrestling, right? You didn't have to have a hoop or a pool. There was nothing you had to have. You had to have a younger sibling who was willing to get hurt. Okay? You had to have a spare neck brace, and that was all you had to have. And you could be a professional wrestler in your house for a little while until your sister got fucking bad off. I remember one time, one buddy's sister, she'd been they'd put her in a damn, my one buddy's finishing move was the damn biopsy. And that shit, God, you could hear one of her eyes just rattling in the back of her throat like one of those lotto balls just coming up the pipe before you knew the number. I mean, my buddy would really rip his sister up. But anyway, everybody's fine now as adults, pretty good. But I remember she was all banged up, and they had to use a couple of damn broom handles. I mean, full broom handles, not those little, just some little kitchen bitch sticks. I'm talking about that janitor thing. That fucking, that janitor carries that big Friar Tuck broom. That bitch got that 2-inch girth on that big thing, that handle. And they had her keyed up to a couple of those like a damn scarecrow trying to keep her body organized enough so she could finish school. So anyway, sorry, let me get back to it. But when wrestling came on TV, man, it was like, even if I felt horrible about myself as a kid, or if I felt ashamed of where we lived, if I felt, I don't know, if I felt like I didn't have somebody looking out for me, or just all that stuff that I felt as a child, right? And I don't need any self-pity. I'm just telling you those things I had, that was part of my heart and brain at the time. And all that would go away, man, when that wrestling came on. Like when Hulk Hogan came on there, it just gave me something. Like I literally gave me something to look up to. I would sit there and look up at the screen, It was just, it just gave you something it just made you feel kind of something's possible. You might need steroids, and you might need, a lot of fucking fake sweat or whatever. You might need to fucking rub your body against another man at night in different cities around the world. But you can figure it out. And yeah, I just love that, man. There was something about it in our neighborhood, man. So yeah, shout out to my buddy Will Teague over there, Eddie Joe, Larry Tisdale, Robbie Taylor, the whole gang over there. We loved wrestling, man. It was everything to us. So thank you to Hulk Hogan and all the wrestlers that gave us that. Just gave us that feeling of yeah, I'm going to show up and I'm going to rip my fucking shirt off and I'm going to fucking DDT somebody at my workplace. That was good shit. Anyway, but yeah, so it was just wild, to get to see a lot of different heroes. And part of me wanted to stay longer. The people that I went with were left early, and so I couldn't stay. I wanted to kind of mill around, and I got to say some hellos and meet some new people. And but I just felt really lucky to go. Nick Hogan was there, Hulk's son. That was nice. I'd met him before, but I got to see his wife, meet her, and Linda, Sky, to a Hulk's his wife and ex-wife. And one thing that I thought was pretty neat was whenever Nick Hogan was up there, he was just making a speech, and he's like, he said that, he believes that his father's watching over him. And then he kind of did like a bit of an impersonation of his dad. And he's like, what you gonna do when the Hulkster is watching over you? And I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, that's through the wrestling. What else is going on? Let's get into a little bit of news. We've got some calls from you guys. I do want to, I want to try and do more regular episodes. I know I said that before. But with this tour almost done, I'm excited to get a little bit more space so I can feel, and I want to have more space in my head to be creative and to feel, man. There's days I can't even feel, and I'm not complaining. I'm just like, dang, this is life. You just get, you get going. It's hard to tap in sometimes and have a conversation with somebody where your feelings need to be present. And that's one thing I've really always loved about this podcast was just like the presentness of feelings. And so I am looking forward to having a little more just space in my life and time to make that a possibility. So, but we'll see. You know what I'm saying? I've said that shit before. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys so much for support on this tour. I can't even believe it. I want to make a whole slideshow that I'm going to put together and maybe put out just to show like some different moments, people that we met along the way and things like that. I'll have to figure that out exactly how I'm gonna do that.